Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Nana Space and today I'm going to do a review on the very popular Squid Game. I kept getting messages to watch it and talk about it, so here we are. Before I get into it, thank you for all who have watched, liked, commented, shared and subscribed. If you haven't watched it, it's a spoiler alert, please, on Netflix. I'm not sure whether they released it worldwide, but for here in the UK, you've got to see it. And these are my thoughts. I'm not going to keep it too long. With 9-part episode. I'm not sure whether season 2 or series 2 will be coming out, but it is set in Korea, so South Korea, and it looks at the lives of a few adults, put that way, few adults who, because of financial hardships, decided to go on a journey to make more money, and they were trapped into this game, and the sole aim at the end of it was to make a lump sum of money. So we start off from one guy's point of view. Now, I'm not going to put names in here because I'm very bad at pronouncing the names. I'm not going to butcher anyone's name. But this chap was living with his mother. His ex-wife had his daughter. His life was not going very well. He didn't have anything going for him. His mother was diabetic. And he had very little to his name in terms of money. Came across this guy on the street that had folded an envelope or paper into some form of a shape, and the game was that you hit there are two folded papers on the floor, like an envelope, two envelopes if you like, and your aim is to hit the one on the floor with your paper and try and flip it, and for every time you flip it right, the other person gives you 100 won, that's the Korean currency. And for every time you lose, you have to give him 100 won. Either he gives you 100 won or you get a slap. So obviously, the poor guy who had no money got so many slaps. But the guy who had money, when it was his turn to receive the slap, he gave money. So the seeds were being sown. If you do well in this game, there's opportunity to get money. And the attraction was that you end up being invited to play this game somewhere no one knows. And when you get there, you make more money by playing some games. So a group of people were selected to go into this house. There were 3 main ladies, one very old guy, one guy from Pakistan called Ali, who was my favorite, and a very elderly gentleman who had brain tumor, and a few rough thugs. They were in the house. The people who orchestrated this had face coverings, so you maintain your anonymity and confidentiality, so no one knows where you are, no one knows who's doing this. If you go to the police, you can't describe them because they had no faces. And there's a mastermind behind who sits in the office with so many CCTV screens monitoring what's going on. So they have a few games. The first game, so you it's like a musical chairs. Right, you listen to the song. It's called Red Green, I think, the game. So you listen to the song. When the song stops, you stop moving, and your aim is to move across to the red green line. And once you've crossed the green line, that's it. You have time. They give them 10 minutes. Anyone who did not make it across that line get killed. Anyone who moves when the music stopped get killed. So the first person got shot, and everyone started running back. And everyone running back is against the law, against the rule, because you have to play the game by listening to the rules. So anyone who ran back got shot, and then panic kicked in. So all those who made it across were saved. People who just missed it were killed. That's game 1. And then what they do with the body, which later I realized, was that they will cremate you. But they had an inside man who was a doctor who was harvesting some of the body parts for selling on. I always knew something shady. I mean, if no one knows where you are, they're selling the eyeballs, they're selling the kidneys, liver. I mean, they're literally selling you for parts, and no one, your family members don't know what's happened to you. So that was game one. Game two, I can't remember what game two was. I can't remember what game three was. I'm gonna just give them randomly. I saw comment online saying, which game would you have been killed by? I think the one that got me was the one that Ali died in. Like finding someone that you thought you pair with to be friends, and then ended up having to choose to kill that person to survive. That was very heartbreaking. That was very difficult to watch. The one that killed me, got me in stitches, was when they had the sugar comb that had an imprinted image, and you had to try and carve it out with a needle. The main guy, the guy whose mum had diabetes, he got this idea to lick the comb. So he was literally licking. Suddenly everyone started licking. There was one lady in there, so it was a very annoying, rude lady. I had a lot of her. I forgot her name, but she was like really the most annoying character on the show. And she had a lighter. So what she did was that she will light her needle on fire, warm it, and use it to carve out. She had a star. So there was a star, there was a triangle, there's a circle, and there's an umbrella. Umbrella was very difficult because it had a lot of intricate bits to navigate. That lady made it through. There was another young lady who made it through. The guy licking it made it through. Ali made it through. There was another very good-looking chap whose name I've forgotten. He went to University of Seoul. His mum fell Squid, funny enough. So that also went through. The old man went through. I think these were the main characters. Obviously, the thugs also went through. And at one point, a scene cracked me up. The girl, the rude lady, and the young lady, the two ladies, went to the toilet, and the young lady hopped on the shoulder of the rude one, went to the loft to look at what's going on, and the rude one was meant to kind of stall the security a little bit. She was like, "Oh, I've got constipation, it's kind of difficult to poop," and literally the sounds she was making, I was like, Jesus Christ, like this lady has no chill at all. She played her part to a T. She cracked me up. Towards the end, they became enemies, but it's neither here or there. And when someone dies, there is this pot. So they had the goal hanging above their head. So where they slept, there's this piggy bank, transparent at the top. And the number of people that have died, so one person equals 100 million won. So the number of people who have died that day, that money just floats in. So you can see. One day they decided to starve them. So obviously when you're hungry, you're not yourself, as the Mars bar advert, not sponsored. But the day they starved them, that evening they were so at each other's throats and they tried to kill each other. And so they realized that if we kill each other, means that more people leave, means that less people will fight for that money and will win. So that evening, they were literally at each other's throat. It was just rubbish. It was disgusting. The next morning, obviously, people had died, and it made them quite apprehensive to sleep. So that was that one game, and the big bosses were all watching. What was annoying was that this doctor who was harvesting organs always got given heads up. So the day the big bosses found out that he had an advantage, unfortunately, they killed him. Now, before we went into, I think, game 4, they voted that they all wanted out of the game. So that game closed, everyone went home. And then they somehow navigated for all of them to come back. But before they came back, someone had reported his brother missing. And while he was in the police station, he was a policeman actually, while he was in the police station reporting his brother missing, he came across this guy whose mother was diabetic. Also complained to the police that there's this place that you go that no one can see anything, you get to play games and people die. And the police were just laughing at him thinking, how do you want to get somewhere that no one knows, you can't tell us anything, and you were there on your own will to make money? So he was being taken for a joke. Now they have a business card or phone number on it. The police tried to call the number and the lady picked up. She was very, very angry. And then when he got out to try and call it, it was out of service. So he was like, something not right. But anyhow, they managed to navigate for them to come back again. And those who did not come back, the big bosses was like, just monitor them. So the next few games that came along were obviously quite tricky, but the bit that not annoyed me, but broke my heart, was when the VIPs came along, and you could see that they've planned this out, almost like there's some this elite who use others as puppeteers for their fun. It was just for fun. It was just for fun. And what saddened me was that that old man was part of them. And he just thought it was fun to be playing the game, knowing very well he wouldn't die. And again, these are spoilers, please. So if you're not here for spoilers, don't watch this if you're not watch the show. And these VIPs were just watching with their masquerade disguises and being very, very jovial, drinking. And obviously, the police guy, whose brother was missing, had managed to infiltrate into the camp the second time everyone was coming back. So he was on the security side of things, looking for his brother. Now, spoiler alert, I'll come back to later to that. So he had managed to be in a position where he was serving drinks to these VIPs, and this guy was trying to take advantage of him, and he turned the cameras on him, was like, you tell me everything that's going on here at a gunpoint. And then he escaped, tried to run away from the island, and eventually cornered the big guy and realized the big guy was actually his brother, which is very sad. Very, very sad. I don't know how his brother got into that, but here we are. Long story short, in the very last game that they played, you had to walk across this glass. So they had two types of glasses. One was tempered, one was not. And you have to work out how to differentiate the two. If you don't know, just rushing with it. You just step on one and just go down to your death. Now, fortunately for them, there was one guy who used to work in a glass factory. So he knew how to, about 30 years history of how to identify different glasses and how the light reflected on them. Eventually, the people caught on and turned the light off and he died. Anyway, a few people made it to the end. The very, very last three fought themselves to death, and the guy whose mother had diabetes had all the money. But he was so miserable. Dude was so miserable. I felt so bad for him. And I could see the greed had gotten him to the end, but he was miserable himself. He was unhappy. And such is life. That's what he signed up for, so that's what he got. It teaches you about greed, contentment, what people are willing to do to get rid of each other, what others are willing to do for fun at the detriment of human life. Like, they killed them, they treated them like nothing. The guy whose mom had diabetes, he called and said, you should treat us like human beings. We're not objects. So, in a nutshell, I'll give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. Really good series, worth watching. Teaches you a lot about life. It's very gruesome. I wouldn't watch it with any children. Great entry into the Netflix space. All the praise and accolade they are getting, they deserve it. The subtitles and the voiceovers were hilarious because I found the subtitles a bit rude compared to what was being said. But anyway, it made sense. It's quite a good series worth watching. Funny enough, this guy went and called and joined again, full. The guy whose mom had diabetes, mind you. So we'll see who else joined him in the house next time. If you watch it, it's on Netflix. And on that note, I will end this here. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.